family, whether you are watching on YouTube or maybe inside our Administrator Mastermind Facebook group or listening over on Teach Better Talk podcast. It's great to be here. It's been a while since we've done one of these. I've got Chad with me here. We just had a really, really great, fantastic Administrator Mastermind meetup. So if you're not familiar, this is something that we do on a monthly basis now. And it's just a space for school leaders, school administrators to come together, connect, have conversations, share, lean on each other. It's kind of pretty wide open. We'll structure it from time to time, but it's pretty wide open to whatever the group that is there needs. And it changes month to month. We're doing that to try and give a lot of opportunities for people to work within their schedules and stuff. So this is really great. If you're interested in that, you can go to teachbetter.com/mastermind, and that'll bring you up to a free. You can sign up and get the reminder emails, notification. There's also a Facebook group that is included in this as well. So we want to come on and do a recap. Chad, we used to do these recaps after every single Administrator Mastermind. That was when we used to do them on a weekly basis. But it's been a long time since we've done it. And we said, hey, you know what? We should do that again. And so here we are, right? So great meeting this morning. It's one of those ones that really highlights why we do this and why we hold this space, because it was a conversation around it was tough. It was a vulnerable conversation for one of our members, and the group really came together to support that person. And it was like one of those moments where this is why we do this stuff. And so obviously it's really important to us for this space and the masterminds to be a safe space. We don't record things. We don't share what was talked about, specifically, or names or anything like that. Unless there's a killer quote that we want to credit to someone, then maybe we will, but we don't usually. So we want to make sure on these recaps that we're not doing that type of stuff. So Chad, let me flip right. Let's go right into it. Of a powerful meeting. Tell me in a way, tell me your biggest takeaway from the meeting today and the mastermind and kind of the conversation that happened there.
I think my biggest takeaway is the reminder that regardless of your position in education, but especially school administrators need a tribe. They need support, and they need spaces they can be human in, because I think a lot of times that's not provided for them in the context of their day-to-day work. And I think a lot of that kind of comes down to, do you have that tribe? Do you have those people, that network, that community that you can go to, where you can be completely just vulnerable and transparent and not put the face on or whatever, and just kind of take your armor off for a second and just be you, so that you can get the help you need to serve those you serve better. And I think that was probably my biggest takeaway from today's session, is just the reminder of how important this, just creating the space for that to happen, can be. And I'm so thankful that administrators trust our team and our network and the people that show up every week to every month to these meetings in a way that allows them to do that. So I think that was probably my main takeaway from today's session.
And that's a really good thing, because so often and this is true just honestly as adults, as parents, something like that in general, but even more so specific here is as educators as a whole, and then I think even more so as leaders. Educators are such servant people. They serve. They're there for something bigger than themselves, serving these students. And as leaders, it becomes now such a passion and a driving force of serving not just the students, but also the teachers, that so often we don't have, leaders don't give themselves that space or that grace or that the permission to find a space or say the things that are vulnerable, that whatever it might be. And yeah, we definitely saw that today. So let's get into it a little bit with what was obviously, with keeping our confidentiality, but where the conversation kind of came out of, and some of the thoughts and ideas that were shared as we went through that. What were your
absolutely. So
the actual context.
So we had an administrator who's an amazing administrator, one of the best educational leaders I think we've had the opportunity to work with and connect with. And they came in a really vulnerable way, and they really shared that they were struggling with sort of a group of their team acting in an unprofessional way, almost negatively towards them. And they were really wrestling with the negative ramifications of this and knowing what they were walking into every single day. And so when they came to the group today, it was really about, this is what I'm going through, and I just needed the space to like hear people's thoughts, or if any of you have ideas. And then that's when the ideas started to flow. And so we talked about everything from how to handle the discussions, how to be direct but inquisitive to gain the information you need. We talked about everything from how do you leverage the resources you have, your other administrative team, your district resources, your professional organizations, and those types of things to help move the conversation forward in a productive way. And then there was like the sort of motivational support that they got from the group, which I think was my favorite, because if this person didn't feel at least supported when they came into the meeting, I know for a fact they felt supported when they left, in a way that I think sometimes you just need to be reminded, like, hey, do X, Y, and Z, like feel good, be confident in the work that you're doing, and show up. And so I think from like a socio-emotional standpoint, those pieces were covered. From like a logistical standpoint, operational standpoint, they were covered. But I also think from a strategic standpoint, they were covered. So this person was really able to get like sort of very clear kind of ideas and solutions on how to handle this specific problem that they had, which I think was awesome, because seeing our group come together and kind of surround that person with support and these ideas was pretty cool to see. We see a lot of that, but like there's weeks that we just talk about, hey, how do I structure my next PD, or how do I get it, and this was a very much like, I'm coming in as a human, I need help. Can someone help me? And it was like, we got you. And like, that was really cool to me.
Can we go a little bit into some of the actual sort of suggestions, ideas, tactics, if you will, that was shared? I think specifically to the way in which that this administrator could approach the ongoing from here on out communication and engagement with this what was really one singular staff member, but then had been kind of recruiting for a couple others to like kind of band against and create some what was almost was a borderline harassment, almost to a sense, but like passive aggressively. So like not violating harassment policy or anything, but like making it really tough for this administrator to really enjoy the work that they do. And this is an administrator that, like you mentioned, we've worked with them. We know that they are a good leader. We know that they are insanely passionate. So like to see them kind of beat down, was tough. And so, you talked about like being the communication and being, around questions and the way that you can have the conversations that not only from a logistic policy standpoint give you the information you need, but also can actually maybe help actually fix the disconnect between this leader and the staff member.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely talked about some strategies in discussion. The other big thing, and then I'll get to the strategy and discussion, was like, remember when you feel like something's really bothering you, it's probably 5% of the 95% great things that you're doing on a daily basis. Educators have this sort of tendency to focus on the 5% that they're not performing in versus celebrating the 95% they're just knocking it out of the park with. And so that was another reminder as like a general thought. That's for teachers or administrators. I coach teachers on that all the time, right? Like, is it you feel that one kid that's disrupting everything more than the other kids, but does that mean everything's going wrong? Like that kind of mentality. So that was another message I think is beneficial. But in terms of having conversations that are uncomfortable with people who are putting you in this situation, one of the things that we always tend to suggest, and that was even suggested in this meeting, was that we can't just like wait for it to get better. A lot of times there's this initial thing of like, hey, we have to let things cool down for like these extended periods of time, and hopefully it'll just blow over. Well, like if you do that too many times, it just gets worse, and then you never handle it. So the first thing was like, if you're letting something cool down, evaluating why are you letting it cool down. So, hey, if you want to wait 2 weeks and revisit this, what questions are we going to answer in the next 2 weeks that we don't have answers to now? What things are we going to address or that are going to change in the next 2 weeks that can't change right now? What conversations are going to happen in 2 weeks that can't happen right now? So that can help just put a structure on the logistical time frame of how fast these things are dealt with. In school, there's always a million things going on. It's always easier to do something next week and then keep moving that thing. So sometimes addressing these things quickly and directly can be really helpful. At that point, though, you have to have the actual conversation. And we have to obviously maintain our professionalism as instructional leaders, but I often recommend the strategy of formatting the way you present things in a feedback-centric lens for yourself. If I come at you, Jeff, and I'm like, hey, you're doing X, Y, and Z, and I don't like that. What's going on? You will immediately become defensive. It will automatically go negative, and that probably felt stressful, even though you knew this was a safe space. Just because
it was a little bit. I'm like, wait, what did I do?
Our brains, our brains are wired to do that. So one of the things you can do to avoid that immediate response of defensiveness is pose questions about how you're feeling and having them confirm that that is in fact correct. For example, hey, Jeff, I'm going to explain what I noticed, what I saw, and what I feel like I did. And then I want you to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Can you do that for me? Very few times will someone be like, no, I won't do that for you, right? Because I'm asking for your input. People are always willing to help others before they're willing to defend them. They will be very much more willing to do that. So I will always ask for someone's help and go, hey, can you help me make sure I'm seeing this correctly?
In that situation, you're not attacking me or something I did. You're asking me to actually tell you what you did wrong.
Can you tell? I want you to tell me if I got anything wrong here. So this is going to do a couple things. First of all, you're asking for their opinion, which people love when you do in a general sense. There's a natural ooh, they want to know my thoughts. And if I'm mad at you, or not feeling great about you, I'm locked and loaded. I've been thinking about this. I got all the things I'm on to tell you, but now I have to use all this stuff I've been building up to respond to the questions you're asking me. And so these questions can then go something like, hey, I noticed, here's how I'm perceiving the situation that I think kind of got us here. I feel like X, Y, and Z happened, but then I noticed A, B, and C. And that actually makes me feel, 1, 2, and 3. And once you get to this point, does any of that sound incorrect, or am I getting anything wrong or misrepresenting or perceiving any of this? And that's going to open them up, because now you've literally laid out very specifically how you're perceiving and seeing all of these pieces. You're not attacking them. You're asking them to correct your perception. So this can actually start the dialogue, because then, Jeff, you might go, that's not what I meant at all. I was just frustrated because of A, B, and C. And now we've identified the miscommunication.
Yeah,
right?
I have an opportunity now to tell you what I actually was upset about, and maybe it wasn't any of those things at all. I'm actually it's actually when you said this thing that really got me. And then when you said that, it's like, oh, okay. And then, now there's an opportunity for you to make it right, to apologize if necessary, right? And move forward. Yeah.
Now, this also assumes that there's a professionalism within the context of the conversation. When professionalism is broken, though, and we get to meanness or unkindness or just not vindictiveness in a conversation, we also have to directly call it out. So one of the things one of our administrators kind of said is, hey, you should be doing all the things that we talked about, but if they're being unprofessional, you have to name it and identify it. And you have to call them out directly on that thing. Otherwise, you're allowing it to get worse, right? So it's also okay in these conversations, if they go badly or they take a turn, for you to say something like, I'm sorry that I feel like this is going in a really unprofessional direction. I feel like the way this is responding is not productive. So Can we continue this in a productive way and naming the things that need to change in that response? Otherwise, we're going to have to continue this another time. Like, so being able to identify when it doesn't go bad or when like unprofessional things are going, because like the other truth is we have to protect ourselves as educators and as educational leaders, regardless of which side of this conversation you're on. Like, you shouldn't have to deal with harassment, name calling, bullying, like any of those things. So the minute the conversation goes there, we have to identify it. And I think that was a good point. Often when we talk about strategies to deal with this, it's about facilitating the productive resolution of the conflict. But there's also times when you just have to look at someone straight in the face and go, that's not okay what you just said, did, or made me feel. And I just need to let you know that that's not going to be tolerated as we continue this conversation. Most people are expecting you to get uncomfortable and move past those things. Don't do that. You can defend yourself. Like, it's okay. You deserve that for yourself. And I think that came out too. And I think that's an important note to remind people of.
Yeah, and I think that was a great sort of summary of the conversation. I think on the underlying, obviously, side note on all of this is making sure that you are fully aware and understand the logistical, like the practices and the systems and everything that are in place inside your specific district and building and whatnot as well. But I think it was the last point of like calling it out, because so often people, they just expect you to roll with it and then deal with it, and then now that becomes the norm. And I think that was crucial, because in that situation we say like, hey, that isn't okay, we can't do XYZ. Like there's a good chance in that situation I go, oh dude, I didn't mean to come at it that way. Like, and so it's another opportunity for that sort of clarification and cleaning up the communication. And
you can also use.
No, go ahead.
You can also use that same strategy we already talked about in this scenario and go, I'm sorry, I don't think you meant it this way, but what you just said,
right? Yeah.
This is how I perceived it. Tell me I'm wrong, because I just want to make sure.
Because this isn't okay, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
I don't think you're the type of person that would want to make me feel that way, so I want to make sure that I heard you correctly.
Yeah.
Like, if you directly address those things, it gives a lot of leverage to you in the conversation and allows you to go, I'm not accepting that. And if that's what you meant, that's a problem.
Well, and the way you phrase it there is now I would have to say, no, I meant to hurt you. Like,
yeah,
I wanted you to feel
if that's
bad.
where it is, now the conversation can go there as well.
Yeah, now you got to level it up based on the procedures of your district or your school, obviously from that point. But yeah, so I think there's some great takeaways and strategies here. I think Chad and I have already sort of shared, like, the overarching from our viewpoint here is like, you need to have some sort of space. You need to have your crew. You need to have your support system in place, because the work you do is hard, period. It's hard. It's hard on a good day. And it can get really, really difficult. And so I think, having a space where you can go to and communicate these feelings and be vulnerable and do that. And the fact that we have created that space, to me, Chad, like, I mean, that's a great way to end a week right now. Like, I'm feeling really good about that.
Yeah.
I don't like that this administrator's having to deal with what they're dealing with. I feel like now they're prepared to take it on a little bit differently and can go in there a little bit stronger. We did joke about the whole meeting just showing up at their school with them to back them up. And I feel like
people had their pitchforks out. They were ready. They were ready to show up.
And while we were kind of joking around that, that's the feeling that I want anyone who comes to these mastermind meetings to get, is the fact that, like, oh, I have people that have my back. I've got a place I can go to. I've got support, not just in ideas and strategies and stuff like that, because that happens all the time, but also just like, if I just need to like let it go and be vulnerable and whatever. And we've had that many times. It's like it's never fun to see someone hurting or struggling, but it's a really cool feeling to know that you're part of a group that can help the people feel comfortable doing that. Coming into that space. So with all that said, if I can wrap us with a slight pitch into there, that if you are interested in that and you need that space, it's free. So teachbetter.com/mastermind, and you can jump in there if you're already in here in that space. We appreciate you, even if you're not able to make the meetings, because obviously you got a busy schedule. It's tough. Just the fact that you are in the space and you're connected is awesome, and we don't take that lightly. We truly appreciate it, and so does everyone else that shows up. So any final thoughts, final words, let's leave you with this, Chad, or roll credits?
If you're an administrator listening to this and you don't have this tribe or community or space, you're always welcome. That's my one thought. If you already have it, be thankful to that community that you have it, whether you're there for someone else or experiencing that support on your own. But never feel like you're in this journey alone, even though this is a very lonely position in education in terms of administration, central office kind of positions can really be challenging sometimes. So I think this, especially during this point of the year when things are getting crazier, it's more important now than ever to find those people. And if you don't have them, you're welcome here.
I love it. And I'm going to take us out. I brought this back last week, Chad. We did just a out of the blue bonus episode of the Teach Better Talk podcast with Joshua Stamper, and brought it back. So I'm going to wrap us up with old school Teach Better. We appreciate you guys showing up. We appreciate being a part of our family. And until next time, let's get out there. Let's teach better.